All right, I think we're live. I think Twitter might be doing this on mine, but not on SorareFP. But we do what we do. Our apologies to anyone that watched Bob and I bantering beforehand. And then we had to do a new link. Here we are. Hopefully, people found this. But rock on. Welcome to 2 weeks away from the playoffs. This is crazy. I cannot believe how close it is. How you feeling, Bob?
Have the A's been mathematically eliminated yet? I don't think they have. So, there's still hope in this little heart of mine. But no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Brewers are playing good ball. Yankees and Orioles are kind of going at it head to head. We'll see how that kind of shakes out. It's really going to chase the first week of the chase, where I know we're going to talk about. So, I'm excited, man. Baseball is the best, as Sarah Lang says.
Nice.
It is absolutely incredible. And I don't know about you, Kev, but I watch and stream a baseball game every single night,
Nice.
single. And I'm sick enough that I have the pop-ups show up whenever my players that are in my champion team or my reverse power team pop up. So I watch them hit every single time. So I love it, man. It's going to be the same for the playoffs. I'm not going to be paying attention because those games usually start early. I mean, super early for you over there.
Yeah.
But I'll be watching baseball and living life, loving it, man.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, no, I don't get to watch as much as I'd like. I do a lot of listening kind of while I'm doing other stuff, but yeah, it's been pretty fun. I was definitely watching as much as I could last night. The Mariners are blacked out for me, so I can watch as much as big inning shows, and then when that turns off, I'm done. So I was just listening to see how Bryce Miller was going to finish out yesterday, and he did awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bought that super rare card last year when he first came out, Kev, and he did so well. And all of a sudden, I remember when he first came in, because he really is just like a fastball main pitcher. He was last year.
Yeah.
And I remember he was playing some of the lower tier teams, and then he got to the Yankees one game, and I think in the first 2 innings, Yankees hit 16 home runs, and I was like, huh, well, this is one way to go about things. And I'm being very, very facetious about 16. They probably hit 2, but still, it was he's a fun guy to watch. And unfortunately, I have my teams on the West Coast, the Oakland A's specifically, and I follow the Dodgers because if you don't have Ohtani and Betts, you're kind of stuck in these chase kind of competitions.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched a lot of Seattle games this year. It's just, J-Rod hasn't really done it. He hasn't been exciting. They're not a team that I really used much of anybody other than George Kirby this year. And George Kirby, every single time I use him, is horrid.
He started bad. He's been bad again. He was himself for a couple months there, right? But yeah, no, I mean he hasn't been well. He's not an ideal play for me. I have two Kirby super rares, and so I mean I gotta play him. I don't have that many. I don't have that many left, but I mean, yeah, I mean honestly, any of those Seattle pitchers, I would be happy to have. I mean, if they've got a good matchup and they're at home, I'm they can easily put up 30 or 35 points, and that's really not that much worse than one of the top pitchers who goes for 2 or 3 or 4 times more.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that a lot of people miss this in terms of pitchers, right? Anyone can have a great game. A week or two ago, Kyle Gibson scored 45 points, and you're not starting a Kyle Gibson over a Garrett Cole or a Corbin Burns or anybody else really, right? But this is what's great about baseball. On any given day, someone can be a superstar. Ramel Blanco can throw a no-hitter. Shota Imanaga can throw a no-hitter. These things happen. And if you're lucky enough to play them on those days, more power to you. And I tell you what, I won a competition last week or the week before National League, and I happened to use Shota. It was the first time I've ever used him as a card because I won him. I happened to use him, and I was like, holy cow, dude's throwing a no-hitter. This is incredible. And it's those things that make this game super unique because you don't always need a stud pitcher or other pieces to go through. And I mean, we'll talk about it more, but we have the chase coming up. What they've been doing with the reverse power has been fantastic. What they've been doing with the last stand teams is fantastic as well. And honestly, as an A's fan, I love the last stand.
Yeah. All right. So I am eager to get to opening my card, but remind me before I open it. Let's go through the tier and see what that tier looks like, and how much I should expect to be disappointed. I think I probably complained to Everett enough about the Xander Bogaerts I got for doing something similar. I think it was winning. I think it was winning Super Rare All Star. I got a Xander Bogaerts, which is probably a T1, which you can do better.
Tiers are tough, you know that. And I think that one of the things that I've learned, because I've been playing Sorare for almost 4 years now, is that I am almost never thrilled about the reward I get, no matter where I finish, unless I'm finishing first. Like, that's the only chance. And now, when you win as much as you do, you're expecting to be able to get, a card that you can put into a lineup, right? And those are the things that really matter. I remember there was a period last year, like if we think
that's different for everyone, just to be clear,
right.
Like, because when I was at All Star with Dewey, like he was like upset that he got a Ketel Marte, and I was like, value wise and like long term, like we expect. This was the first year he went this long without getting injured in like 4 years, but like he can put up like MVP numbers. I mean, it's like Brandon Lau, to some degree. It's like if he's healthy for an entire year, he's going to hit 40 home runs. But I understand Ketel Marte not being like an ideal piece, but I would take him over Xander Bogaerts any day. So
I would be thrilled winning a Ketel Marte. Like, the guy is an excellent player. I mean, when you are playing at Dewey's level, you essentially have everyone you're going to use. So the question is, did I win a guy that I can sell and make some money back on? It's a wholly different thing than a lot of other people when you win, right?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, like, you win, what do you want? You want a Shohei, you want a Judge, you want one of those guys. But I tell you what, I think that I know tiers are always going to be difficult, but they're exponentially better than what they were last year. And I can look back to, there was a couple week period, Kev, where Ace, one of our friends, Steve, won Super Rare Pro or something like that, and won a Marcus Semien as a star tier. And then I won it the next week and won at Devers. And so I like both of the players, but I like both of the players if I'm coming in third or fourth. They are not a first place kind of card.
Here's what I think. I think that would be fine if you also got a star rare. Like, I think, I always say, like, the goal has to be everyone that podiums should be happy. Like, if you get fourth and you're disappointed with Marcus Semien because he's the very bottom of the tier list, whatever tier you're in, but the podium should like that kind of should matter, and I feel like the easy way to do that is give the top, give some of those like elite star players as rares, or even a limited, like you said, like part of, like, for Dewey, he needs to be able to sell it. Like, he could easily sell an Ohtani limited for, $150, and that's just free money for him, like, why wouldn't you do that?
Speaking of which, I just listed an Ohtani limited. If you guys want to buy it for $150, it's there. So
nice. I won. I'm almost certain I didn't buy one, but it's been a long summer. You know what? You know what I mean, jump shoot. I don't think there should be another tier, but I'm saying, they should be at the top of the tier. Again, unless they're going to get the star tier right, and I would love it if they did, but there's always going to be someone at the bottom who is going to be overvalued. Whether it's a rookie, and again, at unique and super rare, like, there's just not liquidity to sell them, so it's not like you have that value. Anyway, I'm sure there was something else I was thinking about that, but I don't know. But I am gonna check this tier list out because I do want to know
what tier are you in. So what tier is this? A tier one? Is it tier two?
T1. It's a T1, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I don't know if anyone checked what first place got, but if theirs was disappointing, we can be certain.
Well, I'm really curious to see the tier list because right now, as we come up on this playoff chase, it's a question of would you rather the guy on a team that is going to be playing in the wild card is going to help you in this playoff chase, or do you want a true stud that may be out of the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. First and second, tier one. What do we got here?
A-Rod, Ozuna, Royce, Schwarber. So Tyler Fitzgerald doesn't belong on there.
Like, who is Tyler Fitzgerald?
He is shortstop / outfielder, Giants. He came up a month or two ago, and he was on fire. He hit a home run 6 games in a row or something like that. He steals some bases, but he doesn't belong with any of these names.
Yep.
Yamamoto, Jackson Merrill, Chris Sale, Willie Adames, even he, at times is questionable, but the run he's been on the past month, I understand it. Infield Aquino. Simeon right now, I would be happy with an SP if that's what I get. I'm always happier with. I love pitchers in SR because those are the ones that I know I can play around with. But Santander, Imanaga, Teoscar is good for the playoffs. Vlad, I would be geeked if it was Vlad. Garrett Cole, Lawrence Butler, I wouldn't mind that. So that's the thing I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
So what was the trade that was posted in Discord? I'll have to find it. It was someone was giving up their in-season Tucker for a classic Tucker and a Lawrence Butler, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you wouldn't make that trade?
Did I say no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably meant yes.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. What I'm thinking about when I make a trade is within 4 weeks, Lawrence Butler, that's going to be a classic season card. So that card doesn't have the same earning potential that you have.
Yeah.
And now you're trading down for a Kyle Tucker card who's going to be in the playoffs, right? And you can't earn with that in the playoff chase. So now you kind of,
it limits your options some, but you can play that classic in there. Just you got to make sure you've got another new season card to fill in. But
there are better players if you're playing to win, which I assume if you're watching this show on a Live Before Lock, you're playing to win. There are better options than a Kyle Tucker with very fragile ankles and shins to play in that classic card spot. And I'm willing to bet that if you're winning Kyle Tucker, you might have options. That's just kind of how my brain is looking.
Depends though. The thing that I always think of is the year the Braves won when Soler and Eddie Rosario were the guys that that carried them. If you don't necessarily you've got to get the right stars, but if you luck out and Harper goes 2 for 14 over the course of a few games, or something like that, or Schwarber, just is walking but not hitting if they're not pitching to him. Last year, Adolis Garcia, he's he's not a superstar player. He's not he's not at that level, but for a week or two in October, anything can happen. And
but are you willing to pay $25 because that's what Lawrence Butler costs right now for in-season Butler for another couple weeks? And if you are, I just won my second Lawrence Butler limited this week. I'll sell it to you for less than that.
I mean, I think I would. I definitely would trade $25 in value for Lawrence Butler right now. I think I would like to pay probably 15 or less for him during the off season. Because you're right. The in-season utility, but I don't think most of his value right now is so much based on in-season utility as it is young rookie who he strikes out a ton, but everything else that he does and on the A's he's gonna play. It's the same thing with Brenton Doyle going into this year where Gold Glove defense, he clearly he could contribute hitting 200 defensively, but the Rockies are going to play him. Who else are they going to play? So he got everyday at bats. those games at Coors, he's mashing, you know, and he steals a ton of bases. So I think Butler is going to have the opportunity to do that same thing because they're just going to play him until, like, if he, you know, falters and he goes, you know, 0 for June or something like that. Yeah, maybe they send him down, but like,
I mean, he's setting Oakland A's records right now for center fielders with his hit streaks, with his number of doubles. He's on pace for a 2020 season. Like, the guy's a good player, and he's.
I mean, look how much run they gave your boy Estuary Ruiz, and you know, like the talent level there is dramatically different. He's gonna, I mean, I could see him being, you know, easily being a $50 player.
I mean, and honestly, like, and Kev, like, I won my second Lawrence Butler, and everyone here in the SorareFP community, if you send me an offer for Lawrence Butler, $15 or so, I'm going to accept it. Like, that's really what it comes down to. So if you want that card, it is there. It's number 78. Because
all right, we've got
my Lawrence Butler is at 16% right now because I bought him.
16 people are watching. Someone's got to go buy that Lawrence Butler.
But that's like, so my logic though is I would much rather have the Tucker in season because this is the biggest jackpot that we've had. And if you can make any sort of run to get in the money, you're going to win enough cash to buy a Lawrence Butler if you really want to. Like, and that's kind of like how my mind is working through this process logically as we go through. And I mean, I am one of the biggest A's fans there are.
Boo, logically. Boo, logically.
Yeah, but that's, hey man, it's the way it goes. I mean,
irrational vibes only.
That A's team is fantastic. Like, I know people crap on me for being an A's fan, but no, Robert Hardy, it's not Tucker versus Butler. It is, the offer was an in-season Tucker. I will trade you a old season Tucker and an in-season Lawrence Butler for that. So basically it's old season Tucker, new season Butler, traded for an in-season Tucker. So that's what the actual trade was offered there. And I said, no, you keep the in-season Tucker because he has the playoff utility. And again, JJ Bleday, Brent Rooker has 36 home runs and 102 or 3 RBI. Guys, like, these guys aren't bad. Like, they are very good. They magically won me $10 yesterday in the horrible team competition or whatever it's called, Last Stand. So these guys are fun. The team is actually kind of exciting, and it's worth a go, honestly. And I wouldn't make that trade for those very, in my head, at least logical reasons, because I'm looking for not the immediate. I want to actually compete in the chase. And Houston is going to be in that wild card weekend, and Tucker is a great piece to have there.
I hear you.
My Sorare name is Orange Fly. So just what I have listed up there, Orange Fly.
Are you seeing my I see.
Panthers. Top. Are you stalling on your reward here, Clamp? Like, what's going on here?
I pulled it up, but I was showing the wrong tab. I don't know how it opened in a background tab. All right. We're going to start with the other ones first.
Yes, UTI.
Nice.
Ooh, Matt Olson.
I might have a Matt Olson already. I will say, so I have, you know, almost 20,000.
Got 2 of him.
Yeah. I've probably used 1,000 coins flipping all my non-playoff guys. Tyler Stevenson. For playoff guys.
With the box luck. Have you been pulling any cards lately, Kev?
It's hit or miss. I think I had 2 game weeks in a row where I pulled one limited and 1 rare. But I would say it was probably 3 good weeks, like not game weeks, but like 6 game weeks that had nothing. And that's just the luck of the draw. I'm going to figure out if we can grab info on that stuff from the API. It should be easy to check, like how many boxes were given out, how many rewards came out of them. I mean, what we know how many boxes they give out, right? Because it's in the rewards matrix, so we can see how many cards get distributed. I'm hoping they're like doing it right, but you never know. All right, let's do the last one. What do you think? You got a prediction, Bob?
Oh, let me get back in here. K Yeezy. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the Lawrence Butler. What do we got here? So
Nice.
I think you're going to get a Semyon, and I think that
No, why
I
would
think
you? Hopefully, that's like a
that's
jinx.
what I think because I
And
think you're going
no,
to
I
get him
can't.
to use him in last
Oh
stand.
my
Second
god!
base. Oh, Altuve.
Ooh, I'll take Altuve.
That's a great card, man.
Yeah,
Especially for the playoffs as you're coming through here. Like Altuve, I used Altuve in the first season to win the World Series competition. Believe it or not,
yeah.
that
He
got me
just
my
had.
Shohei Ohtani win. So Altuve is a great card, man. We were close though. Got the position right, Kev.
I know. That second base terrified me.
Second baseman cost. I mean, it could have been. What? No, it's not Thomas. No,
Could have
whatever.
been Royce, but yeah,
George
he just had like side discomfort though, which scares me. But hopefully he's fine. Hopefully they don't. Do you know the matchups like where things look like they're going to shake out now?
Let me look it up.
Who are the Twins going to get?
I think it's Twins in Houston.
Oh,
I think it's what it's looking like. Let me see.
hooray!
MLB playoffs today. Do. Research. I'm not prepped. What can I say, Kev? So let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Yep,
Damn
I was
it.
right. So this is a fun breakdown. Like, look at that wild card week, right? Like, who are the best options to play here as you're going through middle infield? I mean,
Yeah,
if I were to say, like, as we're looking through middle infield, if you want to play in that first wild card weekend as we go, option one is obviously Bobby Witt, right?
I was going to say Eddie Julian, but that's fine. I can see
Well,
I can
we'll
see
get to
your
him
argument.
eventually. And then Gunnar. Gunnar
Gunnar,
is there as well.
yeah,
Lindor is there.
Lindor,
Marte,
Adonis,
Kettle
Contreras,
Marte. Yep.
yeah,
Exactly. And Altuve. Like all of these guys are going to be fantastic
yeah,
as you come through. And they are the kind of guys that you're really going to need
yeah.
if you want to actually make an impact here. And usually what it comes down to in these early rounds is making sure that you have a starting pitcher and you make sure you have a guy that actually performs. And that's super hard to do. And what that means for the group out here is that you want the guy that's going game one, right? In these best of three series, you can't take the third
At least
starter.
for this first one,
Yes,
the
that's what I'm talking about.
rotations
Like,
are going to get jumbled,
yep,
kind of as we go, and you might end up with a bullpen game,
yep.
for the first game, of the division series, just because they use their their three pitchers and it's 3 days. But
And I actually agree with Hey Eagle fan. Like the San Diego and Diamondbacks series
oh my
could be
goodness, yeah,
a ton of fun. Like, and it will be. And that's the kind of matchup that I want to watch. Like that seems like it's going to be exciting.
yeah,
I have not used any Padres this year. I gave up on Tatis because I always give up on Tatis. I mean, injuries didn't help,
sounds
right?
right,
Obviously,
yeah.
but the Arizona team is kind of a sneaky, fun team that is really, really good in Sorare. I mean, you got guys like Marte. If Corbin is in stride, you're good. Christian Walker coming back off of injury. I mean, big old Gino. Yeah, exactly. Gino. So I see so many teams win with Gino, and I'm like that idiot that just refuses to buy one and use one. So
Yeah, that for me, that's part of the joy of collections.
yeah.
So for 22, I did D-backs, I did Mariners, and so I've got Gino from Seattle. I've got like Lourdes Gurriel Jr. That's someone I would never buy, but like if he gets hot, like I've got one of them at least, in my collection. So that's been fun. So for you.
Yeah.
You are, I know, a lot, I think, more of a rational planner than I am. I kind of just stumble around buying stuff. Later, we're going to have a segment called Hey Clamp, What You Buying? And you can see just how disorganized it tends to be. So can you talk about your process? Like, when did you decide on your collections? Did that change throughout the course of the season? It sounded like, with the Padres, did you kind of initially, I know for me, I initially planned, I sold off most of my Phillies because I was planning to do a collection with them for 24, and for much of the season, like it just never panned out where prices weren't where I wanted them to be or whatever. And I didn't need them. But I think I did all right for the limiteds, at least, getting most of what I wanted. But yeah, can you talk about your process?
Yeah. So my whole plan, I've kind of been talking about this a little bit in the soccer side of So Rare lately. My whole plan was there are specific studs that I feel will give me the best opportunity to place well and earn some money in the champion competition. That was my focus. Champion was my focus at the start of the year. And so those studs will always be studs, right? The Otanis, the Judges, the Sotos, the Bobby Witts, those type of players. So what I said is I'm going to buy those first thing, and they're going to be more expensive than they will be halfway through the season, at the end of the season. And I recognize that. I'm willing to pay that early season tax. What I'm also going to do is after I
Yeah.
get Soto, after I get Judge, I'm going to buy all the other crappy Yankees that are like $1, and I'm going to fill out my entire team. And I'm buying all of these on auction or Insta buy so I can actually boost my collection score. And so as I look through my team, I have the Brewers at 5%. I have the Royals at 5%, the Dodgers at 5%, the Yankees at 5%, the Orioles at 4%, which I can bump to 5%. Everybody minimally in the playoffs is at 3%. So what that means for me is that because I bought Shohei Ohtani as one of the first purchasers of Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah.
and because my collection is so well rounded and I use him, I've been using him well. His bonus right now is up to around 17% in limited. So essentially, I don't need to score as much as your team. And if you put the exact same team up against me, I'm going to win because I
Yeah.
have more of a bonus on my cards. So that was my process. And I did it I did it in limited because those other cards were a lot cheaper. Honestly, you can get those guys on the team that are ancillary that you're never going to use, those RPs, those SPs that don't actually cut it. You can get them for $1 or $2. And my whole plan was make as much money as you possibly can and keep buying and improving. And there are specific cards that I didn't get, Kev, until later in the season. And those are guys on teams that I wasn't going to build up. Specifically, a guy like Ellie De La Cruz. I did not buy one until recently, and I think it was the last week of like the August chase is when I finally did it because he had 4 games and he's just a great card. And then, of course, I think I came in third in the August chase, and the week afterwards, I won NL Limited and I won Nelly De La Cruz because that's just how So Rare works, right? And what I've realized is as I've gone through, I use the strategy and I usually can pull back some money every single week in one of the competitions, be it champion or whatever other special competition they have. And so $5, $10, it's not a lot, but it adds up over time. And I keep a running tally of all of the money I've actually pulled in from the year. And it's already about 2 to 3 times what I put in at the start, which is absolutely wild. And a big part of that, obviously, comes from the fact that I came in third in the August chase. That's $500. I've won champion twice. That's 500 twice. Like that's already $1,500, which is already like more than what I spent on the cards to start with, Kev.
Right.
So there was a lot of strategy and thought that went behind this. And part of this comes from the fact that I've been playing So Rare for nearly 4 years now. And I understand that, especially at the limited level, it's one thing to have the stacks, but you need the most XP on those cards as you go through because
Especially as we get down to now fewer and fewer teams, right? Like
right. So
when everyone's playing the same card.
My gallery is built for the playoffs. And as you look at it, like I may be at like 4% with a couple teams or like 3%, but I can buy a couple scrubs from Instant Buy and I can get those to 5%. And, my Jose Ramirez is already sitting at 14% XP. He's going to now be at 15, 16. And that's kind of like how I've been approaching this entire season to maximize my potential return. And I was willing to bet on myself. Honestly, I was willing to bet on myself, but I was willing to bet on SorareFP to give me the projections and help guide me to picking those teams to maximize my potential return. And it's a big shout out to you, Kevin, to Alex, to the entire team at SorareFP for putting together the tools that allowed me to do this and feel confident. Without those projections, without the app that we've developed, that Captain No Sweat is a hero that always
Oh
puts
my
up.
goodness.
It looks great. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, everyone in here probably has it already, but it's a main tool that has helped me when I've now won 4 times. I have 4 times in regular competitions. I have 4 bobbleheads to prove that. but I've also won weeks of each chase as we've gone through, which has allowed me to finish in the top 10, I think, in every single chase that we've done. So all of these
That
things
is amazing.
each other. Yeah. So I mean, and it's not just me though. Like when you look at our community,
Oh
you've
yeah.
got guys like DJ Local and Hey Eagle and everybody in
Yeah.
here has done that, and I'd be
Doc
willing to
Doc
bet.
Screw is
Yeah.
always I'm always seeing his name up top.
Yep.
Uh, I
And
mean,
I'm willing to bet that at the end of this playoff chase, we'll have a number of people from SorareFP because this is one of the best communities that I've ever been in, especially around baseball. Our Discord's nuts. Like, I mean, we have people talking and asking questions constantly. We've even got Europeans like Potter that have come in. He knew nothing about baseball until baseball
yeah,
started, and now he loves it. He's addicted. He flew to New
yeah,
York City and watched a Mets game, and he wins constantly. So, like, this is what I love about the SoRare community, but especially the SorareFP community that we've been able to put together and
yeah.
that you've been running, Kev. And so big shout out to you. I appreciate it. Like this stuff is fun. And there's, like I said, the only reason I did this strategy is because I knew I had the tools to really take advantage of it. And I knew I loved the game enough. And I knew that I wouldn't be dumb enough to keep playing athletics players. But, we're going to do it because
Yeah.
this is how it goes, man. I mean, the Athletics finally won me something. Like the Athletics
Nice.
won me two things this year. So Mason Miller won the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And when Mason Miller won the All-Star game, that actually bumped me to second place in that competition. So I got this jersey, Mason Miller jersey, and a Shohei Ohtani. So like that's like and $250. So that's like the most amazing baseball win that I've had as far as limited goes. But Brent Rooker just smashed a home run yesterday. Butler's
Yeah.
been nuts. Boudet has been nuts. They give me money on these crappy team specials that we have too, which is fantastic. Like this is like right up my alley, and I absolutely love it, man. And again, shout
Yeah.
out to SorareFP.
Yeah. And thank you everyone who's both supported us and also been patient with me as I try and figure out how to do all the things that Alex used to do. We're getting there, but there are still days like today, or at least this week, where not once but twice I tried to put hitter projections in for pitchers and pitcher projections for hitters. So, we can't all be perfect. Especially when I try to do them as early in the morning as I can. And so at times I'm not necessarily awake. And there's a lot of tabs there, man. And I'm old. I bought my first pair of readers yesterday. So there have been a couple instances over the past year where I had to look at some really, really, really tiny type. Like we had to send in a Switch joystick to get repaired. It had like the drift on it. And there's just minuscule text on there. And I'm looking at it and I can see like that there are symbols at least, but like it's all blurry and I'm like, am I having a stroke? Is that what's happening right now? Because I'm not processing words or letters anymore. What is happening? And then I just realized, no, you just can't see that anymore without help. So that's great.
I get it, Kev. I get it. I mean, to all you youngins in here, it's going to happen to you at some point too. I mean, now when my wife asks me to read her little makeup model, I take out my phone, I take a picture of it, and I expand it so I can actually read it.
Love it.
What are you going to do? And
All
making
right.
my beard go more and more gray. So, it's all good though.
Yeah.
So.
All right. How are we doing on time? That's awesome. All right. So a couple things before I forget. One, sometimes people will message me and say like, hey, thank you for all you're doing. Can we, I won these baseball tickets, can I give them to you or whatever? And I would say, if there's ever anything you'd like to give to say thank you to FP, give it to Captain No Sweat. I mean, he built the app, and then SoRare has continually changed the API, and I think it's in service of getting everything on the same platform and consistent, and so that the underlying code is following the same it all works together. It's the same kind of architecture and language and all of that. So I think that's good in the long run, but in the short run it means that the app is shut down entirely because it's all different language and all of that. So the work that he's put in to fix those things, he got an auto trainer up and running. I'm still just like shocked at his ability to do that. And like, he's just doing that in his spare time. And SoRare was unable to do it at all. And it's like, Come on, guys. Anyway,
One
thank you,
more thing. One more
Captain
thing.
No Sweat. Yeah.
Like, thank you, Captain No Sweat. And like, one thing to remember, guys, like, this is not Kevin's or Captain No Sweat's full-time job. Like, I know that they put in a lot of time, and Captain No Sweat is a pilot, guys. Like, this guy actually takes care of people and has like a really important job. And so, like, the fact that he's able to put in the time and do this stuff, like, shout outs to him, like, through the roof. Like, everything that makes what we are able to do, what Kevin's able to do at SorareFP possible, is because of the work that people like Captain No Sweat put into this. So again, Kevin, you're absolutely right. Captain No Sweat, thank you so much. Everyone in the community, thank you for supporting it. And like, with your help and your feedback, like, we listen to what's going on here, guys, and it's absolutely fantastic for you.
Yeah. All right. So that's our gushy part of the evening. What else?
Playoffs, baby.
Playoffs. Ooh, okay. Two things. One, Robbie. Man, I hate talking shit in fantasy leagues because it always backfires on me. But Robbie, who had a dominant season in our head-to-head league, is me, Robbie, Bob, Alex Hooper, and then some of his friends from like Northeast Ohio. Robbie ran the table. Like, he was like 20 games ahead of every team, and I might beat him. I'm up like 8-1-1 or something like that.
Ooh, is this the championship already?
This is to get in the finals.
Okay, so in semifinals. Yeah, like, listen, Kev made a run because Kev's team sucked for most of this season.
Hey,
it was not good. And
no, he's right.
Made some really smart trades, and he did a really good job. And then he started dominating. And
yeah, no, he's right. I didn't put a lot of time into prepping for that league, so I didn't like. Rule number one is like figure out what the rules are, the roster construction, and all of that. And if I had done that, I would have seen like you want to build like a relief pitch. Like, relief pitcher should be the basis for your pitching. I think there's like 4 RP slots, and you've got both ratio stats plus saves. So if I'd been thinking about it, I would have been drafting. Maybe I got Cole Reagans, which I was pretty happy about. Brian Wu. So that stuff was good. But yeah, no, I gave away I had Michael King. I traded him for a reliever, I think for Estevez. I did a big trade with Alex where, we were both kind of struggling. And so we shook it up. I sent him like Tucker and Olsen, and probably another piece or two for Otani and Schwarber. And, it's huge dividends. The past couple months, they've been okay.
So, like, where you went nuts. So Schwarber, you destroyed my team one week because Schwarber. It was the week that Schwarber scored like 432 points in Sorare. He hit like 12 home runs, and I looked at the stats. I was like, it's not even like feasible. I think Schwarber hit more home runs that entire week than my entire team did. It was just absolutely wild. So yeah. But no, this kind of like year-long stuff is fun, and this is something that I think that as an FP community, we could probably talk about kind of like putting together next year as well. Everyone in this chat, everyone in the group loves baseball, and this is just a fun way to be more involved. And what you realize is that when you play with people that don't play Sorare, they don't always know as much about the guys that you're playing, that you're seeing, that you're scouting. You see them coming up through, and it's actually really kind of cool. I mean, I managed to make the playoffs with a lot of Oakland A's on my team. Like, go figure. So,
hey, Tyler Soderstrom starting a catcher for me. But yeah, no, I've like half of my team has been solid guys, and then the rest has been a lot of mix and matching. Connor Norby, I had Lawrence Butler for a while when he was super hot. Pete Crow Armstrong right now, like Victor Robles, who knew? But so I eventually was just like, I can get guys that with the right matchup are going to steal a ton of bases and have a decent shot at a home run here and there. And so like I've been putting up, I've got 6 more home runs in him already. Like my last week was insane. It was like 30 home runs or something ridiculous. But yeah, this has been super fun. The thing that I was going to say is I have had so much fun playing NFBC this year, and I'm gonna talk to them and see if we can do a league. Like we could do an off-season draft just with FP guys, and then like we can do like the first 10 rounds, you know, on a Zoom call or something like that, because those, you know, they're very interesting throughout the course of the off season. So if you're doing a draft, you know, it's a 50 round draft and hold. And, you know, doing that in October or November can be, you know, you don't know the roles of some guys and all of that. But like the Rob DiPietro, who's Deadpool hitter on Twitter. He's got a great Discord community too. But he does daily podcasts and all of that, which is great stuff. But he does like a way too early one. So they already did one like 2 weeks ago. They did the first, I think, 11 rounds. But yeah, no, I think that would be super fun with a group of FP people. So I'm going to try and set that up, and I'm not sure if I'm signed in on my computer here. But I am rocking it in these leagues. I need to show off. Like I did 11 of them, and I think I'm top 4 in like 6 right now. Like, I was not sure how this was gonna go.
And honestly, guys, like I don't know. Most of us are in Sorare because we love baseball. Number one. Number two, we also like to gamble on sports a little bit. Like, it's fun, right? Like it's exciting. It makes the games more interesting. But
Yeah.
I think that almost everyone that is especially in this chat and plays the games will probably say they know a ton more about baseball and the teams than they ever did before at the start of the season. That's one of the big things that gives somebody like Kevin, gives someone like Robbie, because I know Robbie was doing really well in these best ball drafts as well, an opportunity, you know, and it's this is the kind of thing that supplements on top of it. And it's one of the things that I think Sorare has been a great learning points for me too, to figure out who these people are and to know who you want to go after, like who you're targeting, who's coming up through the farm system, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, Kevin and I were talking about Jackson Churio and Jackson Holiday like 3 years ago, right? And here, it's awesome, right? And then we're watching these guys and they're turning into studs. We have to be patient, and it's baseball is the best. Again, shout out Silly. Baseball is the absolute best, and it's why we do like what we're doing. It's why we play the game. It's why we post about these things, because it's fun. We enjoy it. We want more people to be involved. So
yeah.
And by the way, Corey Seager sucks. So
so Jacob deGrom, would you or would you not start him? I think it's today, right?
I am never starting Jacob deGrom.
What? I mean, I could see not this first start, but like, I mean, I can see not wanting to buy him because it's like, well, I mean,
so
it's only going to be 3 weeks of starts, but like, yeah, his starts are better than literally anyone else's on earth.
We talked about it earlier though, like the difference between a top end starting pitcher start from a stud to a Kyle Gibson or whomever is hit or miss. And what I'm trying to remove question marks when I'm putting together a champion team or a chase team. And what I mean by that is I do not trust a 400-year-old man with arm problems to pitch 7 innings and get me a win, 5 points, and a ton of strikeouts. I don't expect him to last. I really don't. And I want to put guys in there that I feel more confident in. And DeGrom's great, right? You know, but DeGrom was really great 5 years ago or whenever he wasn't hurt. And I'm not looking for the going off into the sunset guys like Verlander to play. I can't do it. Or when it comes right down to it. Now, you know, I want my flash. I want my Jared Joneses, and I know that they're coming off injury too. But these are the guys that I avoid and I don't put in champ. Like I have my stable of guys that I'm going to use, and I have my stable for the playoffs as well, based on who they are playing, right? And part of that playoff strategy, you know, if the Royals are playing the Orioles and you're going to pitch Corbin Burns, are you really going to play? Are you going to play Bobby Witt against Corbin Burns? Because you're only going to get potentially 2 games out of this. Are you going, if you're pitching Cole Reagans, are you playing Gunnar? Like, do you think you can get enough points to be valid in that. And like these are the kind of things that I'm thinking about logically as we come through outside of the guys that I like. I mean, in the past, I would always play Soto and Judge, but I watch their games all the time and I don't use them all the time. I'm making decisions logically as we go through here. And this week, part of what I'm doing is the Yankees are playing Boston. It's a heated rivalry. And I'm putting everybody together because I want to see just like madness ensue. Because those games are either like 2-1 in 10 innings like it was yesterday, or they're 14-12.
Yeah.
And so
Have,
like those are the kind of things that matter. And when it comes to the chase, I mean, I am not the expert on the chase. I've done a good job. I mean, DJ Local is the actual expert on
I would
chase.
say you're an expert. Like, I would say all of you guys are experts. I would say that you are high stakes Sorare MLB experts. My wife loves nothing more than to tease me about one podcast that I think it might have been Hunter's, which, by the way, subscribe to Hunter Substack. It's on his Twitter. It's a phenomenal kind of breakdown, especially for the rain check. It's where I start every week when I'm checking the weather, which sometimes I just don't do because that's one of those things when I run out of time. But if I'm able to, checking the weather. So for this one, it looks like the Atlanta series is the only one, but it's the end of the season. These games are going to matter. They're going to try and get those games in. But I don't know if anyone has checked. If you're in the chat and have checked on, is it supposed to rain the whole weekend, or is it like 6 hours of rain, 10 hours off? And what do the schedules look like on Monday? Because I'm sure they're going to try and get these games in if they can. But if Monday's open, they'll probably move one, if not two, if it's going to be raining, almost the entire day or the entire weekend. But yeah, so Hunter called me a high stakes player, which I immediately said, no, like I'm not. I think I'm a good player, but I dabble in the expensive stuff, which and that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about is it seems to me like you are approximately 10,000 times happier playing limited than you were when you were playing at the very top tiers. Because you didn't even play limited before, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. It's a really interesting kind of piece. Like part of my issue playing at Unique in Super Rare was, there's not as much competition, and I know baseball really, really well, so I was able to win a lot. But there was no in season. There wasn't anything that was actually like making me feel like my money was well spent. Right? Like if I knew that there was going to be in season competitions and there's going to be so much cash coming through, I would have stuck it out. Because I dumped guys like Soto and Otani and Trey Turner and Bobby Witt, like all super rares. And so those guys would have brought me back a ton of money this year. But it was stressful, honestly. It was actually pretty stressful when you put as much money in and then you win a Devers or somebody like that, and you simply can't sell it because there's only a handful of people that want to buy it. And obviously every year more and more people want these tools. But it wasn't making me happy. Even though I was winning every single week and podiuming all the time, there was less stress about playing at the limited level for me. And like it certainly helped that within the first, 10 weeks I won champion twice. Like those things take a lot of stress off your plate with what you've put in. Like you made a good decision. But I find that if my team sucks, when I'm playing limited, I am not as worried. I'm like, oh, there's next week, But if my team sucks in super, I'm a little bit more annoyed. And it's just a matter of like what you put into it, And there's going to be weeks where your teams will crush. There's going to be weeks where they don't, And at the end of the day, limited has just been a lot. I don't want to say more exciting, but it has opened me up to all players in the game. I'm not just like in this like one little community with a handful 10 players that are just dumping a ton of money in and are really frustrated when their guys suck or when Silver is not giving out good things. I am more apt to be okay with a T1 reward coming in of some guy that I don't know. In limited, I obviously want to do better and I want the rewards to be better, but I'm less upset about what I get when it comes out. But I'm super excited because to me, I believe that the best players in the game are the ones that win consistently at limited. because there's just simply more people, more access to cards. And I want to be one of the best players in the game. That's how I've always thought of myself. And I wanted to see if I could translate that from winning it unique and super rare and rare. I want to see if I can translate it down to limited. And so far, I feel like I've done an okay job of it. You know, I wanted to basically do kind of what you did, Kev. Like last year, you were winning almost every single week in limited and rare and just constantly winning.
It's streaky. It's streaky, right? So, you know,
yeah.
I started off last year just on an insane heater. I think I had like, you know, 5 podiums in 6 weeks or something like that. It was insane. It was the best possible run. And, you know, I'd like to think it makes sense because I spent a ton of time in the off season looking at the first month, and I was looking at it mostly in the sense of who's going to pop, you know, that first month, and who's going to go from a $20 card to a $50 card, or from a $50 card to a $100 card, you know, because there's guys like Tucker or Juan Soto or Ronald Acuna, like, who will drop below kind of what they would be worth if it was in season and they're hitting well. You know, Matt Olson is one where, you know, you can get him for $20 at times, and, you know, he's streaky. We all know that. I mean, even good vibes only, you know, even Gino Suarez, like, you don't need him to be good throughout the season. You need to play him when he's on an 8-week heater. You know, Luke Raley. I was going to say this before. You're talking about the Mariners. Like, Luke Raley is he's hit at least 1 home run for almost a week for almost 2 months. Like, he's hit like every week for like going back to like the All-Star break, almost at least 1 a week. It's crazy. But I mean, he's one of those platoon guys where, you know, if he's got righties like what's T-Mobile? It's T-Mobile now, right? It used to be Safeco.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know. The Mariners Stadium, which until recently I didn't even realize had a dome, but they do. Like, it's retractable. But like, it doesn't affect lefties as much as it does righties. It's the righties that it seems to mess up. So like, he hasn't really been hurt there. But all right, I'm rambling. What were we going to talk about next? All right, let's check it. Let's check in with the chat because I didn't have it on right now. Who wants my Altuve? I only play well during the chase weeks for the most part. Not a bad problem. That's right, Tyler.
Tyler's been smashing though, so that's okay.
Yeah, so many FP people have been. We've got Hey Eagle here. We've got a Sicily King. It's good to see you again. Friends and family, former FP. I'm not sure. Are you still doing the spreadsheets or not? I don't feel like I don't see you in the Discord anymore. We got Jump Shoot. We got Miguel. We've got Robert Hardy. Who else is here? Lublal. I wish I knew how to say that. I don't. Okay. Oh, yeah, buddy.
As we're going through this stuff, Kev, I'm really curious because someone talked about getting more credits, market credits, in the off season. What are you going to do with yours? I think I have like $200 in credits, and it's going to expire after the playoffs. Like, I don't want to. I don't know what I'm going to buy. You know what I mean? Like, I would love for them to put a pause on it so I could buy new season cards next year. You know what I mean? Because one of the unique things about my strategy is that my guys won't be new season next year. I'll have to redo it all over again. Right. Yeah. And so how do I offload all of my guys after the season?
So is that your plan? Sell off and like everything and start a new?
Well, so let's talk about this. So one of the things people get
I think that's a great
tight on and really struggle with in Sorare is I paid X for this card. I want to get X back. And I look at I paid $200 for Ohtani. If I can get 100 back at the end of the season, I'm happy because Ohtani has won me $3,000 this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm taking in my returns. Like, Ohtani has won me a card or money every single week, essentially. So I'm less concerned about the cut I'm going to get. I want to be able to pull enough money to basically redo the process all over again. So like, I will try to sell, but I don't even know who's going to be buying and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to lie to you. I envy you so much. Every time I'm like, I think it would be fun for me to start over from scratch now, but I have so many cards, I don't even know how I would sell them. If anyone wants to buy what I would like to think is a very successful gallery, it's a little bloated, but yeah, no, I'm happy to take offers.
I mean, honestly, Kev, like I could just keep my cards.
I was
And
going to say, I mean, especially when you're playing limited, they give out enough stars in limited that, you know, I've won. I mean, I was someone who, until recently, I always said, like, look, I think the fun challenge for me is winning at this game with ever using a Judge or an Otani. Like, they're great players. They're amazing. I don't think I would pay $200 for them ever, though, just because, you know, that $200 you could buy, you know, literally 3 lineups worth of players that, you know, and this is where I was going, that like this team can win. Like I podiumed with, you know, Pablo Lopez, a Rays relief pitcher, which if you're ever not sure like who to speculate on for pitchers, anyone in the Rays bullpen, just buy them when they're $20. But I won that Naylor. Yainer is pretty good. Matt Wallner he's someone in that head-to-head league where I drafted him. I was super excited for him. He started slow, got sent down, and he's mashing again now, which is kind of what we always hoped. Austin Wells and then Bryce Miller. But like, I mean, these guys shouldn't be podiuming, but like, you know, they can. That's part of the fun of this game. I mean, especially after we had so many high-scoring weeks. Like this was a pretty low-scoring week. Like there weren't like 100s, you know, just a lot of 30s and 40s and 50s. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so Kev, I think that's like I could obviously like my Shohei Otani will drop from like 18% to 13%. Like, oh no, that's terrible. Right. Like, so I could keep the cards, you know, or I just start the process.
Yeah. I mean, play them in classic next year. And
I mean, right now I'm essentially free rolling with what I have because I've already made back after my wins and like how lucky I've gotten. Right. So I use, and this is something for anybody else that's playing like the soccer side too. I use baseball to fund a lot of my soccer purchases.
Nice.
I took that money that I won in the August Chase, and I think I bought like a Cole Palmer rare, who, for anyone that follows soccer, is one of the best cards in the entire game in football soccer. And so that's kind of how I've been keeping the money through and going through the process. And then I can take the money that I'll win in soccer, I'll be able to translate that over to baseball, and then I'll be able to sell some of those things too. Because, you know, whenever I'm winning duplicates of guys, like I want to duplicate Bobby Witt, sold him for over $100. Want to duplicate Otani, I have him listed for whatever it costs right now. You know, and if somebody wants to buy him for $150 before this big game week coming up, like he's there. Like he's as low as he has been for a while, right? But I'm willing to do that because I have one. 2 is obviously better. He's bringing in a ton more when I have 2, but I don't need those extra pieces. And I've been very fortunate to sell superstar players throughout the course of the year and not need them and hoard them. So, yeah, that's actually a good call. The strategy to save boxes.
Yeah. So that's what I was looking for when I wandered over here and then totally forgot. So it was my credits. So this isn't even all the credits because it's not including the ones that got separated and didn't get used. But
yep.
I haven't put any money in this year, but I've also bought, you know, at least $1,300 worth of new season cards. Which yeah, no, I think the credits have been great. I mean, this is one of those things where kind of taken by itself, I can understand people kind of complaining of like, I wish this was better. Like, yeah, we wish everything was better. But like, this is a nice little bonus. If you are buying new season cards, which, I mean, that's, I think for the long-term health of Sorare, that's what we want, is for people to buy some new cards every year, to play the Bob style, right? And, you know, like, I think they should be incentivizing that. It's nice. The way I look at it is, you know, prices tend to be around 25 or 30% more for in season versus classic. So like, you know, these credits help offset that. You can sell. I've done that a ton of times. Like if you look on Sorare data, like my sales will be a pair where I sold a 22 limited and then bought a 24 limited, and it ends up being about the same price. So yeah, I've liked the credits. I'm looking forward. I'm not sure if anyone knows at this point what happens with boxes, right? Like if you don't open them, will you be able to save them until next year? I mean, that seems to be the theory, right? It's like, well, if I wait to open it until March.
I think YNWA did it for basketball, and I think he just like opened all of them recently because basketball's coming up. So I think that you can do it. I mean, you just have different things that will pop from the boxes. But I mean, I want to go back to like my strategy real quick, Kev.
Yeah, sorry.
Just keep in mind, guys, like if you're going to do what I did, you have to be fully committed. This is not a half measures kind of strategy, right? Like you really have to be fully committed and understand that you have a massive upfront spend to get the pieces that you need. And it's going to give you the returns if you are smart about it and you have the right resources. And so like you have to be focused on it. And like part of this is I don't have any kids, so it's easier for me to focus on Sorare baseball. Like, honestly, and that's, I mean, I'm not joking around. Like, this is like an actual thing. Like, I've made it a priority to focus on these things. I never miss a lineup. I'm always aware of injuries and stuff like that. Like, today I have to figure out if Kyle Schwarber is even going to play. Like, he's day to day, right? Like, and that's a thing that, like, you have to keep in mind because if you're going to do this, you have to be ready to go all in and focus and pay that subscription to whatever service you use to get the information you need and to translate those pieces over. It is a kind of all-in, full measure sort of approach. And I say this to a lot of people because the difference between having a full collection of the Dodgers on the start of the season versus having it at the end of the season is monumentally different for how much you can actually return when it comes right down to it. The quicker you get the 5%, the more opportunity that Shohei, that Mookie, that Freddie, that Teoscar, Glasnow have to return you value. And so it's a difficult thing to fundamentally do, honestly. And it takes a big understanding of what it's going to look like. And I don't recommend it for everybody. Like it's not peaceful at the start of the season. Like you really need to get lucky when it comes right down to it. And people say a lot, like, do the percentages actually really matter? And I say to everybody else, like any reward that you won by less than a point shows you that the percentages do actually matter when you do this. And I've won a number of competitions by less than a point or two that I know my percentages are exponentially higher than everybody else's that I'm playing against. And so those are the things that matter. Like when I put together a full team that is the same as somebody else, I know that my percentages are almost 10% higher than everybody else that I'm playing against, which gives me a massive boost. So it may not seem like it matters, but if you miss a T1 by 0.01 points and you didn't have collection bonuses and stuff like that, that's why. So also collection bonuses do kill the secondary market. So there is that. So
they kill it?
Yeah, dude. Because collection bonuses you need. So when you get a collection bonus, like
because it's so much more valuable to have
instant buy or auction gives you 30 collection bonus points, whereas you only get 10 if you buy it. So like I think this is the big thing that people don't really talk about a lot that affects the secondary market.
Right.
So yep.
I think people do talk about it. I mean, especially when a lot of those parts were introduced earlier this season. I think a lot of people, especially people that tend to focus on undervalued cards and flip them, said like they're killing this for us. It didn't kill the secondary market though. I think it stayed pretty stable. Like I said, there tends to be like a premium of 25 or sometimes 50 or 100% even when someone's in high demand and it's early in the season and there's still low supply.
Yep.
But when players have blown up and their prices have spiked, everything both cards go with it. They maintain that margin, but you can buy I was gonna talk about training, and just that I filter for 24 cards, in case anyone has questions about this. Like, these are the ones where you get the most bang for your buck by doubling the XP. Because they're starting big, they've got the 5%, and at the lower levels, it goes a lot further to increase to get to the next level. But what I was going to say is, if you're buying Liam Hendricks right now for $1, he's probably going to be the closer next year. And I mean, that's easily a $3 or $4 or $5 card. It's, a $10 card if he's crushing it, and he's coming back from injury. He's a little bit older, but like, guys in his position do okay. Like, I mean, he might get hurt again, but like, literally, as we've seen this season, literally every pitcher in the major leagues is at risk every time they go out there for having a sore forearm or a sore lat, some part of the kinetic chain exploding because they throw balls faster than anyone has ever thrown things in the history of humankind. So, how in softball they have like the bat ratings, like the ball can't come off the bat at more than however many miles per hour. Like, technology wise, they could do them a lot faster. But like, for safety's sake, they don't. I would like to see that in the MLB, where like it's an automatic ball if it's over 95 miles an hour. I think Paul Skeens would be able to pitch, he's still got good stuff, right? I mean, he can throw at 100 miles an hour, but like, I bet we'd get twice as many innings out of him over the course of his career if we made them throw no more than 95.
Counterpoint. If you change your delivery to slow yourself down by
I know, Bob.
This is, so keep in mind, I'm a biomechanics guy. Like, that's what I have my master's degree in. So like, there's a balance between all of these. But I mean, we watch the videos of the pitching academies and what they do to young kids. It's atrocious mechanically. Yeah. And it is, man, if a doctor did that, it's like malpractice, right?
No, and I mean, the thing that I've seen and that I think is absolutely right is like, there's so much more data now, and we can, there's TrackMan and all that stuff. Like, we can figure out like how to maximize the potential, of someone, so that someone that, I mean, like that's the Twins method right now of developing starting pitchers. It's, take a guy who throws like 88 to 92 in college and wasn't a stud, and figure out how to help him throw 5 miles an hour faster, or to increase the deception stuff, right? So, I mean, that's how you end up with Joe Ryan, who, I mean, they got him up like 3 miles an hour this past year, but 2, at 92, his fastball plays because of the deception. So there's that part of it. We're figuring out how to help them throw faster, but not how to do it safely, right? When the science.
Can we get like a Greg Maddux Academy? Like, because that's what you actually need, right? Like, like Greg Maddux didn't throw the ball more than like 83 miles an hour, right? He didn't throw the ball hard, and he pitched forever, and it's, each thing comes through differently. Like, you have to be taught how to do these things, and speed is the predominant thing now. I mean, you look at a guy like Mason Miller, he was a D3 athlete because he was only throwing the ball 87 miles an hour. No one realized
that's crazy
that he was a type 1 diabetic. Once he got it under control, his velocity jumped 15 miles an hour, and all of a sudden he became the top prospect. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this, but I mean, I remember watching Greg Maddux pitch when I was a kid, and like, it was just amazing. You're saying to yourself, why can't they hit this? Like, why can't they hit this? And it's nuts. It's like watching Roddy Tellez pitch now. They just throw like lobbers in there. You have no idea. Guys still
46 mile an hour curveball.
Fantastic. Yep. But on that note, Kev, I, believe it or not, have a work meeting in 2 minutes. So
yeah, you go. I'm gonna
have to sign off here.
I'm going to keep going. So if you're here, stick around. If you're only here for Bob, which is understandable. Although I'm personally disappointed we didn't get an awesome sweater. But next time. I almost pulled one.
Dude. Like, I like it. This is Sorare merch. Like, so I've been trying to wear more of like my trophies that I get from Sorare. And this is so happy about this one. This is from the All-Star game. This is Mason Miller winning the game. This was my reward for the jersey, and I'm so pumped. I wear this all the time. I absolutely love it. And I even got an Oakland A's shirt underneath it because All A's, baby. All
Nice.
A's. So,
I love it. All right, we'll let you get going to work. Thanks for doing this, Bob. And
and Kev, I may hop back on if I can make this meeting quick.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All right.
yeah, if I don't need a nap, I'll be here.
Yeah.
All
Right.
right.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, all right. It is. Oh, it's only like 11 for me. It's usually around 2 when I need the nap. But yeah, no. Bob and I were talking beforehand. If you logged on to the original link, we were just chatting, and I thought I hit record, but not like go live, just so I could test out sound as I'm sitting outside, because it is just like a gorgeous fall day in Idaho right now. It's like 56, 60 degrees. There's no smoke right now. It has been like insane levels of wildfire smoke here for most of the past month or so. But yeah, so it's like fall for me. It's like, I don't know, like 70 or 80 out in New York by Bob. So he was, I thought he would be at least as cold as me on the East Coast and the Northeast, but I guess not. All right. Let me check the comments, see where we're at. If there's anything you guys want to hear about, put it in the comments right now. Otherwise, it's going to be the normal kind of scattered clamp mumbling about things. I really need Bob to keep me on task. So let me check the things that I told myself I was going to do. Weather looked okay. That's another thing. If anyone has checked, I think I mentioned this before, if anyone has checked the weather for the Atlanta series, let me know. Ooh, all right. So I was going to look at what I've been buying. We've gotten some questions in the Discord about, how do you approach the off season? Bob talked about that some, like his method is going to be, I think his goal is going to be sell all his cards, maybe keep some, but then, buy new cards in the spring. That's not even an option for me. Nice. But for me, like, what I'm doing is just looking at cheap cards. So guys like Pablo Lopez, Luis Castillo, if they're $5, they're going to be a top option, at least 5 times throughout the course of a season, and they're going to be worth more than $5, even as a classic card. Liam Hendricks, like I was saying before, he's probably going to be the closer. He was $38. And so, this is the way I'm going to be playing super rare from now on until they change things dramatically, get the tiers right up there, and figure out ways to keep those high level players happy, which I think they're getting there. I think with the unique chase rewards, like $20,000 for there's probably 5 people that have galleries that can have a legitimate shot at competing. Like, that's not bad. You could probably put together. I think in season is hard, but I'm not even sure what they require for unique. How many in season you need? If it's only like 2, that's not a bad way to build. But all right, I'm gonna start going through these cards. This is who I've been buying. I bought Bob. Who's more prepared and focused than me. Like, I was like, hey, have you been, when we were talking last week about doing this, I was like, hey, have you been, buying anyone to prep for the playoffs? He's like, no, I've had all these cards all season long. Like, I decided early on to build collections for the teams that I thought were going to do well. And, he did a good job with that. So I bought a Yamamoto, I bought a Machado. I kind of just dabbled. Especially teams where I have a prior season collection, I didn't necessarily go for them. So I've got Dodgers. I put together a 23 set to do my middle infield Mookie, mostly because I thought he would play outfield this year, that they would find a competent middle infielder, and he could play outfield, and so that middle infield would be pretty rare. But then they have had him play shortstop and second base. I think he's back in the outfield now. Nuke Raley is a stud. Louis Varland. The one thing I could see being beneficial with the playoff game weeks is relievers. And so if the Twins move Varland to the bullpen again, like they did last year, and he, is lights out like he was, for much of his time in the bullpen last year, I think he might be a very good start as an SP. I haven't thought it through a ton. I looked at the weeks. I mean, I know the ALD, like the division series and the league championship series. If they're split up into 2 weeks, you're not. I mean, if you're looking at a situation where Varland could be in 3 times versus a starting pitcher only going once, I think there's a chance that they can put up, a 60 or something like that. So, like Class A, he might be like the best, reliever to go with right now. But so I have a little bit been looking at guys like that where, I might want to play him at starting pitcher as opposed to an actual starter. Reese Olson for 95 cents. He's a pretty good pitcher. He's one of those guys where I'm happy to buy him for $1, and I think he's got enough talent that he can put up, 2 or 3 straight starts that are top 5, top 10, and there'll be demand for him. David Festa's been all right. I think it's Zebby Matthews that I don't think has had a good start yet. Joe Musgrove is a very good pitcher. And these are all of my swaps for to get rid of non-playoff guys. So I've basically just been kind of going through and figuring out where I can trade, O'Neal Cruz or who else did I have in there? A couple pitchers, Castillo. I don't know who else. I don't know who I got Olson for. But yeah, working on that. What else have I been buying? Austin Wells for $275. If the Yankees make a deep run, I mean, he's probably the middle infielder I want. If they go to the World Series, him or Volpe, I guess. Volpe is not the worst hitter in MLB like he was for a good 3 or 4 weeks. But I think Wells is probably the best play from the Yankees at middle infielder. Am I missing anyone? It's not Glaber. Zuby's here. All right, what did I miss? Non-closer RPs. Yes, this is the other thing. So yeah, I think the high leverage guys are who I want. Jeff Hoffman, Hoffman and Estevez. If you think the Phillies are gonna do well, I mean, I would start both of them. I think I will likely be playing relievers in flex. And like I said, when there's cases like Varland where you've got a starting pitcher card for someone that's going to be used as a reliever in the playoffs. Yeah. Common swaps during August Chase, that played out well. That is good stuff. The other things, coins. So, doing those swaps are 100 coins each. I, throughout the course of the season, have been just boosting limited cards, maybe rares if I was in a chase and had a decent shot, it was worth it for me. So I did some rares for that, but otherwise, just doing limiteds, which are pretty cheap in coins. So, playing all of the limited and rare comps, and then at least 2 or 3 super rare comps. Usually I've got enough for one good super rare team, maybe a good maybe a decent all-star team, usually I've got a pitcher who can throw up at least a 20 and a couple relief pitchers to put in the RP and flex slots just to farm coins and maybe hit on someone putting up a huge week. But yeah, I mean, with all that, I think I'm at like 20,000 coins right now. But like if you weren't here, an hour and a half ago when Bob and I got started, when he was talking about those collection scores mattering in the playoffs, it's for sure true. Especially when you get down to the World Series, and it's going to be a lot of the same lineups, and so the more bonus you have, the better. So I'll be doing probably all of my limited and rare lineups, and probably I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough for a super rare lineup throughout the playoffs, but yeah, all the limited and rares for sure. Yep. Valuable relievers. Yeah, I mean, right now, man, Griffin Jax is probably the twin I would go with right now. Duran has been hittable. I don't think he's been terrible, but I think Jax is the guy. I think if it came down to getting 1 or 3 outs to go to the World Series, I think they pitch Jax right now. Maybe not, just confidence-wise, but as far as stuff goes and as far as how well he's handling hitters, I think Jax is the stronger pitcher right now. All right, y'all. If there is anything else you want to see or hear, let me know. Other stuff I had was just off-season strategy stuff. I think Mookie had brought it up at times. Just general thoughts. And I'm sure I said this in the Discord already whenever you asked a little while back, but like I think for non-playoff teams, in many cases, this might be the low. We can look at Sora data charts and look at kind of how the prices have gone up and down, but some of those $1 and $5 guys that I was looking at. David Bednar's one. David Bednar's a good reliever. He's been bad this year, but for $1, he's going to be their closer next year. Like, there's no question. If you can get him for $1, you should. I mean, same thing with Duran. Like he's having, a down year. He's not pitching like the best reliever in baseball right now, like he has at times. But like, he's their closer. Like I said, I could see Jax maybe being the high leverage fireman like Jeff Hoffman is. But man, if he drops down to like $1, I would buy him. I've been buying some of the young guys that I like. I will probably scale into them. So I probably had 1 or 2 Ellies. I think I bought one for sure. And I think I won one. But $44 after the coupon is, 30 something. That's fine. Like that's a price I'm happy with. If he's going to steal 80 bases next year, he only needs to hit 20, 25 home runs to be, maybe for sure a top 10 middle infielder. Like he's kind of a unicorn in terms of steals and all of that. Like, it's going to be interesting. Riley Green for $4, Wyatt Langford for 87. Again, I don't know that that's the best price in the world, but CJ Abrams for $6, Corey Seager for $12. Like, those are the kind of deals I'll be looking for throughout the course of the offseason, building up and then selling off in January, February, March. What I guess the last thing I'll talk about is our plan for the offseason. If there is particular offseason content that you want to see, post it in the chat here for those of you that are live, put it in the comments. If you are watching this afterwards, the Alex Super Plug $5 a month for projections, $10 a month for app and Discord. Like Bob said, the Discord is a great place to get feedback, learn more. I always say there's levels to this game where you can come in, know literally nothing about baseball, and baseball is such it throws off so many stats that you can never have watched a baseball game in your life and look at the stats. Like some people look at the stock market and understand kind of who has value and not. I know he hasn't been around much, but AJ Yonose, I think that first season, I think he did a lot of work into figuring out what stats correlate with Sorare scoring and performance. I think it was XWOBA, maybe, some of the better advanced stats, tend to do a pretty good job of showing you who's good, whether or not the actual production has been good, because there are elements of luck. There's nagging injuries that someone doesn't do well for 2 weeks. There's adjustments, someone like O'Neill Cruz or Ellie De La Cruz, they come up, pitchers figure them out, they need to adjust. And so there's this back and forth, how patient to be, how aggressive to be. I think that's something that the Orioles do phenomenally, is preparing their hitters to have a plan of attack to give them the best chance to hit a ball really hard. Their goal is barrel a ball, and that you've got a different strategy on the first pitch, especially depending on who the pitcher is, versus with 2 strikes and kind of covering holes in your swing and all that. Again, I think the Orioles do a great job of it, but some players are so gifted that it's just they need a month or two and they're good. Saw it with Bobby Witt, saw it with Adley Rutschman, saw it with Gunnar, saw it with Jackson Churio this year, where he had a slow start, but he's been what, close to a top 10 outfielder, I would think. But yeah, off-season stuff. We are likely going to do at least weekly videos on basics of the game, and then dig more and more in depth into once you've got a basic understanding of this, kind of what's the next level, what are the considerations, just in terms of when we think a player is going to produce, when Rafael Devers is struggling at the plate, is it just bad luck? Is it he's still hitting the ball hard, they just got caught? Is it something else? So stuff like that, ways to figure out which rookies have a decent chance of performing at a level like Jackson Churio or Merrill, or is Wyatt Langford going to be a top option or not? I think he probably will be, but also is Tyler Fitzgerald is what he's doing going to be replicable? So yeah, so we're going to be doing when MLB Rivals. I think that's coming next year. I think it'll be fun to see what happens with NBA. And I mean, in the same way that I talk about SR as like, if you're building a roster, if you're building a limited gallery, it's the same thing that I'm doing in Super Rare right now, where it's, find value, kind of pick your spots, find guys that are, you're paying for them as if they're replacement level when they can easily put up a 40 or 50 or 60 point week in the right matchup. Like Austin Wells early in the season, it wasn't going to happen, but once Trevino got hurt, he was going to get a lot more at bats, which was a big thing because they were, kind of splitting most. most weeks it was 3 and 4, or something like that. But once he went down, he was playing a lot more. Guys like Matt Wallner, who if he's facing all righties at home, if he's facing all bad righties, it's that's a guy that you want to play. And you can get the super rare for $100. You can get the limited for like $2. So yeah, that's the plan for the off season. Kind of going over stuff. Unfortunately, I think it sounds like we're probably not going to do NBA with the code changes. It would be like building from scratch to get the app running. There's a possibility we could partner with someone that does the projections themselves, like like Nate from FP Sorare Edge. If you're subscribing to him, or NBA Jet or Top Tier, whatever the other projection systems are, I think they're going to do a better job than me of doing NBA projections. I would just assume focus on MLB. I think if things go well, I think I'll be, probably doing some NFBC slow drafts over the off season to help figure out, who are the guys. It's a really great exercise to figure out who's got a shot at having a role next year. And I mean, we know to some degree, we don't know kind of free agent movement and whatnot, but like we knew going into this year, Festa, Zabi, Varland were going to be, the backup options for the Twins. When someone goes down to injury, if someone, when Chris Paddock goes down, when Joe Ryan goes down, like who's going to be filling in? It's those guys. And they've got potential. You saw that with Spencer Arrighetti, the pasta pirate. Yeah, he's, he was someone that I ended up with, I drafted him in the 40th round. It's because it seemed like there was, when there's an injury to a rotation, which there always are right now. Yeah. So I think that is probably it for me. Good luck to everyone this week. Hopefully I got the spreadsheets right. I didn't see anything before I came in here, but yeah, no, I appreciate y'all watching. If you stayed this long, comment if you stayed this long, and we have giveaways to do. I have Sorare hats and shirts to give away. At least Sorare stickers. But yeah, if you comment in here, I'll reach out and get your address and mail stuff out to you. I think that is all for now. Good luck, everybody. And yeah, see you soon. I'm going to leave this on for a little bit if you want to comment here, or you can do it afterwards in the recorded one. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, give it a thumbs up, share it, whatever. The more people that see this, the better. We would like to be able to do this as much as possible. Like I said, I'd love to do streams once or twice a week. I mean, Bob and I could probably talk baseball an hour a day, almost every day of the week. So we would love to do this more. If there's demand for it, we will. So that is all. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you soon.